guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a video containing to my birthday because tomorrow is my birthday. The day that I'm posting this, it might be on my birthday, it might be a couple days later. I'm not sure, but February 22nd is my birthday. And I am going to be 23 this year, so I thought do a video of my 23 most anticipated reads, like the reads that I am excited to read. So I'm doing it in an order from least excited about to most excited about. So it'll be 23 because I'm turning 23 tomorrow. And yeah, so we'll just jump right into it. I don't really know a lot about all of these books. They're mostly just like from what I've seen on TikTok or what I've seen on Bookstagram, YouTube, books that were sent to me, books that I bought myself. I tried to do it in order from least anticipated to most anticipated, but I have all of my physical copies of them. There's a lot of anticipated reads that I want to read that aren't on my TBR list, that I want to read more than what's on my TBR list, but for now I'm sticking with my 23 most anticipated reads of my TBR that I already have, because I have the physical book of them and I need to like really start getting through my TBR because I have way too many books that I need to read and I keep buying more and it's a problem. So starting with number 23, my least anticipated, and then we'll go all the way to 1, my most anticipated. So starting at 23, we have Beach Read. This one I got gifted from one of my friends on Bookstagram. This was a really popular book over the summer. I actually tried to start it, but I couldn't get that into it. I still really want to read it because I feel like a lot of people either love it or hate it. And I feel like most books that people either love or hate, I end up being a fan of them. So this is definitely on my list of most anticipated reads, but it's on the lower scale. So we're at 23 with this one. This is about Festus Everett is an acclaimed author of literary fiction. January Andrews writes best-selling romance. They're polar opposites. In fact, the only thing that they have in common is that for the next 3 months, they're living in neighborhood beach houses, broke and bogged down with writer's block. Then one hazy evening, one thing leads to another, and they strike a deal designed to force them out of their creative ruts. Everyone will finish a book and no one will fall in love, really. So I guess two authors that get together, I'm assuming they don't really like each other. They end up kind of joining forces in order to get out of their writing slump. And they are at a beach house. So this one seems interesting. I just don't know if I would love it. Also, I've read an Emily Henry book once before and I wasn't a huge fan of it. So like, not really a huge fan of her writing. So I don't know if I'm gonna love it or hate it, but this is still on the list because it's been on there for so long. It was gifted to me and I really want to read it. So this is number 23. Coming at number 22, we have Twisted Hate. So this might be a little controversial because this one I heard is probably the best, if not the best, of the Twisted series. So I've only read the first one. This one's the third one, but this one I heard is the best. I wasn't in love with the first one. That's why I haven't like gone through them like super quickly, because the first one didn't make me want to pick up the next one. So this one's been sitting on my TBR list for a while, but I heard it was really good. A lot of people love it. And I think from the first one, it has potential, but I'm not like dying to read it, but I still want to. Gorgeous, cocky, and fast on his way to becoming a hotshot doctor, Josh Chen has never met a woman he couldn't charm except for Jules effing Ambrose. Okay, this already sounds interesting. The beautiful redhead has been a thorn in his side since they met, but she also consumes his thoughts in a way no woman ever has. When their When their animosity explodes into an unforgettable night, he proposes a solution that will get her out of his system once and for all, and enemies with benefits arranging with simple rules. No jealousy, no strings attached, and obviously no falling in love. This, by reading the back, I don't usually read the back of books, but this by reading the back makes me want to read it like way quicker than my 23rd or 22nd in my list. The more she gets to know him, the more she realizes there's more than meets the eye to a man she's hated for so long. Her best friend's brother, her nemesis, and her only salvation. This one sounds so good. I literally might need to read this like ASAP. There's a couple books that I want to read before it, but this one, like, after reading the back, this is not the 22nd on my list. Just saying. Okay, going to 21, we have Thoughted. This one is a series. I'm honestly not sure what Oh, Dirty Air series. This is the only one that I have to it. This one was also gifted to me. I heard it was really good. I don't know anything about it. I usually jump into books completely blind, but I'm doing it for the sake of this video. I also love the cover to this one, and like the writing and everything. Like everything just looks like so put together on this. But this is Maya's right here. Maya. Noah Slade is a Formula One legend in the making. Focused, unapproachable, ruthless, on and off the track, a man with walls higher than the Grand Canyon, and my brother's new teammate. I want more of the prince who disguises himself as the villain, but while I'll crave a happy ending, he wants to destroy his. Noah. Maya is a forbidden temptation, an ambitious postgrad I should stay far away from, and chaos wrapped in a bow. We're a ticking time bomb, about one wrong move away from exploding. I want to trip the wire, detonating together in passion and pain, because in the end, all's fair in lust and war. So this one sounds really good too. This is my 21st. So coming at 20, it happens in summer. This one I heard was very, very good. Kind of like a every summer after kind of vibe, I heard. Could be wrong, that's just like what I've seen. But it happens when summer is about Piper Bellinger, a fashionable and influential, and her reputation as a wild child means the paparazzi are constantly on her heels. When too much champagne and out-of-control rooftop party lands Piper in the slammer, her stepfather decides enough is enough, and he cuts her off and sends her and her sister to learn some responsibility running their late father's dive bar. She bumps into Brendan, the fun-loving socialite, and the gruff fisherman are polar opposites, but there's an undeniable attraction simmering between them. Piper doesn't want any distractions, especially feelings for a man who sails off into the sunset for weeks at a time. Yet as she reconnects with her past and begins to feel at home in Westport, Piper starts to wonder if the cold, glamorous life she knew is what she truly wants. That was a lot. This one also seems really good. I just like, I don't know, even reading the back, I'm still like, yeah, this is still probably at my low anticipated releases, but I heard it was really good. Also, I don't want to read this in the winter. I definitely want to read it in the summer, so this is why it's like bottom or close to bottom of my list. So yeah, it happened one summer. Next is Come Back to Me by Mila Gray. Haven't heard a lot about this. I think I saw a video on TikTok about it probably about a year ago, maybe a little less, but one thing I like about this is that it's not talked about a lot. I read books that are usually the most anticipated for like everyone on Bookstagram and Booktok and all that, but I like the fact that this one isn't talked about a lot. At 11, Jessa first met Kit Ryan. At 14, her crush began, and now she's fallen in love. A fellow Marine like her brother Riley, Kit is off limits, and Jessa knows better than to give her feelings to her brother's best friend. But when Kit arrives home on leave for the summer, Jessa can't help but sense a change in him. He's talking to her differently, looking at her differently, touching her differently. Kit's tired of hiding his feelings for Jessa. The one girl he can't have is the girl he wants. Risking everything, the two decide to act upon their mutual attraction and embark on a summer romance that eventually blossoms into love. It's wonderful, it's magical, it's perfect, until Kit re-employs. Neither Kit nor Jessa is ready to say goodbye. Instead, they make promises to each other. Jessa will wait for Kit. No matter how long it takes, Kit will come back to her. But something more than distance and time plans to rip them apart as Jessa learns that someone she loves is dead, killed overseas. All Jessa can do is wait to hear the name of the loved one she's lost, her brother or her boyfriend, Riley or Kit. I literally am still getting the chills from reading that. This sounds so good, but so sad. I feel like either way, like if it's her brother or her boyfriend, like you're gonna be crying at the end of this. I honestly have never read a book that has made me like fully cry before, so I'm waiting for that book. I am not jumping on it though, because I have a lot of books that I know that are super sad and that could make me cry, but like for some reason I'm like, I like the thought that I haven't cried at a book yet. But this one, if I read this one, this might get me. On to the next, The Love Hypothesis. This one I got when it was like super, super popular. I think that was over the summer. I also started to try and read this, but I wasn't like a huge fan. I couldn't get into it. I was like probably a chapter or two in, and it usually takes me a while to get into a book, so I just keep reading to see like halfway through if I like it or not. I'll either put it down or keep reading, but this one, after 2 chapters, I was like, I don't even feel like picking it up anymore, so I put it down. But this one I want to read because a lot of people love it. I feel like this is also a book that a lot of people love and hate, but I think if I were to pick it up and read it, I might like it a lot. But this is about, as a third-year PhD candidate, Olivia Smith doesn't believe in lasting romance relationships, but her best friend does, and that's what got her into the situation. Convincing Anne, A-N-H, Anne? I don't know. Convincing Anne that Olive is dating and well on her way to a happy ever after, she was always going to make more than hand-wavy, jetty mind tricks. Scientists require proof, so like any self-respecting biologist, Olive panics and kisses the first man she sees. That man is none other than Adam Carlson, a young hotshot professor. Why Olive is positively floored when Stanford's reigning lab tyrant agrees to keep her charade a secret and be her fake boyfriend. Adam surprises her again with his unyielding support and even more unyielding six-pack abs. Suddenly, their little experiment feels dangerously close to combustion, and Olive discovers that the only thing more complicated than a hypothesis on love is putting her own heart under the microscope. Like, not loving it, even after reading the back, but still on my list. Next, we have Terms and Conditions. This is the second one of, I don't know what the series is called. Dreamland Billionaires series. I have the first one too. Still haven't read the first one yet. I heard that the series is really good, and I actually got gifted both of them by somebody I follow on Bookstagram. Shout out to Juliana. I'm really excited to read these because I haven't read like a full series yet. I've read the first and second books to series, but I've never like finished a series before, and I'm waiting for that one series that literally hooks me and makes me want to finish the whole thing. So hopefully this is it. But Declan, I'm designed to become the next CEO of my family's media empire. The only problem, my grandfather's inheritance clause. Fulfilling his dying wish of getting married seemed impossible until my assistant volunteered for the job. Our marriage was supposed to be the perfect solution to the biggest problem, but the more we act in love for the public, the more unsure I feel about our contract. Caring about Iris was never part of the deal, especially not when breaking her heart is inevitable. Iris, my plan to marry Declan was simply in theory. Move in together, throw a wedding, have a baby. We set rules to prevent any kind of issues, ones that were never meant to be broken, no matter how much Declan tempts me. But what happens when our fake relationship bleeds into our real one? Falling in love was never an option, at least not for me. That sounds really good. Double POV, I'm guessing, because there's two people, Iris and Declan. Yes, I love double POVs. That's like probably my favorite because I love getting both perspectives of like the two main characters in the book. So yeah, I'm excited to read that one. After reading the back, it seems really interesting. Going on to the next, Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. Perfect Marriage or the Perfect Lie. I have only ever read two thriller books before, and they're both by Colleen Hoover, and I liked both of them. It was Layla and Verity. Verity I loved, 5 stars. I feel like everyone loves Verity. If you don't, I don't know. But Lila was like a 4-star or 3-star for me. I wasn't like a huge fan of the dynamic of the book, but I've been wanting to get into more thrillers recently. I got this one a while ago because I heard it was really good, but I still haven't read any thrillers other than Colleen Hoover's thrillers, so I want to jump into thrillers soon because the only genre that I really read is romance, and I want to broaden that a little bit, even though romance will always probably be my number one. But I feel like thrillers, like I like thriller and like psychological movies, so I think books I would really like. Everyone knows a couple like Jack and Grace. He has looks and wealth, she has charm and elegance. He's a dedicated attorney who has never lost a case. She is a flawless homemaker, a masterful gardener and cook, and dots on her disabled younger sister. They are still newlyweds. They seem to have it all. You might not want to like them, but you do. You're hopelessly charmed by the ease and comfort of their home, by the graciousness of the dinner parties they throw. You'd like to get to know Grace better, but it's difficult because you realize Jack and Grace are inseparable. Some might call this true love. Others might wonder why Grace never answers the phone or why she can never meet for coffee even though she doesn't work. Some might wonder what's really going on once the dinner party is over and the front door is closed. That seems really interesting. This one, oh, this is past and present. Cool. This one also, like, the words are pretty big, which I like, and there's not a lot of pages, like 300 something. Going on to the next one, we have Malibu Rising. This one, I feel like mostly everybody who reads it loves. This was also really big over the summer. I also want to wait to read this during the summer. That's why like it's probably lower on my anticipated reads at the moment, but I have read 3 of her books. After I do One True Loves, and there was one other one, I don't remember, but I like her writing a lot. This one I heard was really good, so I want to definitely read this one. Also, I want to read Carrie Soto is back, and I heard you have to read this one before that. I think I'm thinking about the right book, like how this corresponds with that one, I hope. So this one says Malibu, August 1983. Well, this is like taking it back. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of summer party, and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone wants to be around the famous Rivas. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel, brothers Jay and Hud, one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister, Kit. Together, the siblings are a source of fascination. By midnight, the party will be completely out of control. By morning, the Riva mansion will be gone up in flames. Malibu Rising is a story about one unforgettable night in the life of a family, the night they each have to choose what they will keep from the people who made them and what they will leave behind. Sounds interesting. I feel like I didn't get a lot from that. It's like a one-night party. Oh, that's cool. It does like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Like there's 2 parts to it. I guess like different time frames of the party. That's cool. And so next we have Forever Interrupted, another Taylor Jenkins read. I think I saw this on Instagram a while ago too and put it on my Amazon wish list. So somebody actually sent this one to me for, I think it was Christmas. So this one says, Elsie Porter is an average 20-something, and yet what happens to her is anything but ordinary. On a rainy New Year's Day, she heads out to pick up a pizza for one. She isn't expecting to see anyone else in the shop, much less the adorable and charming Ben Ross. Their chemistry is instant and electric. Ben cannot even wait 24 hours before asking to see her again. Within weeks, the two are head over heels in love. By May, they've eloped. Only 5 days later, Ben is out riding his bike when he is hit by a truck and killed on impact. This is why I hate reading the back of books, because like I know that's something that you can know because it's on the back of the book, but like it would have been like so much better if I just like read it and not knew that happened. Elsie hears the sirens outside her apartment, but by the time she gets downstairs, she's already been whisked off to the hospital. There, she must face Susan, the mother-in-law she has never met and who doesn't even know Elise exists. Interweaving Elise and Ben's charming romance with Elsie and Susan's healing process, Forever Interrupted will remind you that there's more than one way to find a happy ending. That sounds interesting. Sounds really sad. I'm guessing it's just about like Elsie and Susan's story of how they get through losing him. Like I feel like maybe the first like quarter of it is Elsie and Ben like actually being together and falling in love, and then from there I guess it's just like how her and her mother-in-law get through losing him. I'm not really sure. That's just like my guess. I have no idea. But next I have The Legacy. This is the off-campus series. I've read the first 3. The Deal, The Mistake, and The Score. This is the last book to the series, so this one is definitely on the list. And then the next one I have, like right next to it, is The Goal. This is the one that I'd be up to. I actually started reading it, but I stopped for some reason. I think I like picked up another book. I really want to read this one too. I just like got into it, or I started to get into it, and I picked up a different book for some reason. I don't remember. But once I get into this book, I'm probably going to end up reading this one right after, because like once I pick up a book, if I like the series, I like to go to the next one like right away, but if I don't like it, I'll like wait a little bit. But after The Score, because that one was so good, reading this one I wasn't like that into, because I was like, I feel like it's not going to be as good as The Score or like The Deal or The Mistake, the ones that I've read already. So I kind of just like put them down and picked up another book. But I eventually want to get to both of these too. Going to the next one, All the Bright Places. I heard this one is sad. This one was also really popular, I think, over the summer. Theodore Finch is fascinated by death. Every day he thinks of ways he might die, but every day he also searches for and manages to find something to keep him here and alive and awake. Violet Markey lives for the future, counting the days until graduation when she can escape her small Indiana town and her aching grief in the wake of her sister's death. When Finch and Violet meet on the ledge of the bell tower at school, 6 stories above the ground, it's unclear who saves whom. So it's only with Violet that Finch can be himself. It's only with Finch that Violet forgets to count away the days and starts living them. But as Violet's world grows, Finch begins to shrink. So I guess it's more about like they both want to not be there anymore, and Finch is like every day is finding something to keep him there, and then Violet is just like counting down the days to like when she's gonna die. I don't know if I would really like this one, to be honest, but I heard it was like sad a little bit. So this one's probably a lot lower than some of the other ones that I read the back to, but I heard it was good, and that's why it is on my list. Okay, so next we have Pack Up the Moon. I found this one through somebody that I am friends with on Bookstagram. She said that this one absolutely killed her, and she knows that I haven't cried to a book yet, so she was like, if you need to cry to a book, or if you need a book to make you cry, this is the one. And I'm honestly scared to start it. I was going to start it one day, but like I couldn't even pick it up because I was like, I know, or I read like the first line to it and I was like, okay, this is gonna make me cry, and I honestly am not in the mood to cry. This is Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. Joshua and Lauren are a perfect couple, newly married, they're wildly in love, each on a successful and rewarding career path. Then Lauren is diagnosed with a terminal illness. We know how this is going to go. As Lauren's disease progresses, Joshua struggles to make the most of the time he has left with his wife and to come to terms with his future, a future without the only woman he's ever loved. He's so consumed with finding a way to avoid the inevitable ending that he never imagines his life after Lauren. But Lauren has a plan to keep her husband moving forward, a plan hidden in the letters she leaves him. In those letters, one for every month in the year after her death, Lauren leads Joshua on a journey through pain, anger, and denial. It's a journey that will take Joshua from his attempt at a dinner party for family and friends to get rid of their bed, from a visit with a psychic medium to a kiss with a woman who isn't Lauren. As his grief makes room for laughter and new relationships, Joshua learns Lauren's most vulnerable lesson: the path to happiness doesn't follow a straight line. Okay, this one is probably definitely gonna make me cry, because people dying in books just like gets me. I don't know, definitely on the list if I want a good cry, but who knows how long it's gonna take me to actually want a good cry. So that one's on the list, but we'll see when I actually get to it. So next is Then She Was Gone. This one I actually got for my boyfriend's mom for Christmas last year. She didn't end up reading it. I was trying to get her into reading by buying this book. I think she read a little bit of it, but I ended up stopping. But this one is another thriller that I have on my list of thrillers that I want to read or start reading, like get me into the whole like thriller genre of books. Then She Was Gone says, no one ever just disappears. Ellie Mack was the perfect daughter, and then she was gone. 10 years after Ellie's disappearance, her mother, Laura Mack, is trying to put her life back together when she meets an unexpectedly charming man in a cafe. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughters, and his youngest, Poppy, takes Lauren's breath away. Because the eerily precocious Poppy in the spitting image of Ellie, whoa. And now the unanswered questions she tries so hard to put to rest begin haunting Laurel anew. Where did Ellie go? Did she run away from home as the police have long suspected, or did something more sinister happen? A haunting page-turner of sheer perfection. Then She Was Gone is a gaping and emotional, resonant tale of one's mother's quest to uncover the clues she failed to recognize and finally discover the truth of what happened to her daughter. This sounds really, really, really good. For some reason, I feel like it's going to be really hard for me to get into thrillers because, like, something about a romance just, like, will pull me in really quickly. But thrillers, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, get into this super quickly. But I feel like once I'm, like, in the middle of the book, or once, like, one thing happens that I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to be able to, like, get through it really, really quickly. Coming in next, we have Full Tilt. Everyone that has talked about this book has said it is really good and has loved it. And I also heard it was another really sad book. So also on the list of books I want to read if I'm sad. I Would Love You Forever If Only I Had the Chance. Casey Dawson has always lived life on the edge, impulsively, sometimes recklessly, and now as lead guitarist for a hot up-and-coming band, she is poised at a brink of fame and fortune. A wrecked concert in Los Angeles threatens to ruin her career entirely. She wakes up with a hangover from hell and no memory of the night before, or how she ended up on her limo driver's couch. Jonah Fletcher is running out of time. He knows his situation is hopeless, and he's vowed to make the most of the handful of months he has left to him. He lets her crash with him for a few days to dry out and get her head on straight, but neither of them expect the deep connection they felt, or how that connection would grow so fast from friendship into something more, something as fragile as glass that they both know will shatter in the end, no matter how hard they try to hold on to it. After reading the back, still not like super excited to read this, but it still sounds pretty good. I'm not like into the whole like musician thing about it, but I think that will be like only a little tiny part to like the actual story. Next we have It Starts With Us. This is really popular right now, or was like a couple months ago when it came out. I read It Ends With Us. This one I actually pre-ordered, thinking that I would read it right when I got to my house, and it's a couple months later and I still haven't read it. It Starts With Us is Lily and Ryle have just settled in a civil co-parenting rhythm with their daughter, Emerson, and Lily suddenly runs into Atlas nearly 2 years after they last spoke. Elated that the timing finally seems to be right to give what they have together a real chance, Atlas asks Lily on a date. But Lily's excitement is almost immediately replaced by dread and anxiety when Lily remembers that Ryle, though no longer her husband, is still very much a part of her life. And though Ryle would dislike Lily dating anyone but him, Atlas is the one man he absolutely will not stand having in his ex-wife's and daughter's lives. It Starts With Us gives readers a deeper look into Atlas's past as he and Lily reconnect and rekindle the love they shared as teenagers while navigating a volatile ex-husband who believes Atlas to be one of the reasons his marriage with Lily ended. So this one is very popular right now. I definitely want to read this, but I'm probably going to read It Ends With Us before this one again. And I'm going to read both before the movie comes out. Next one we have is A Court of Mist and Fury. I heard this one is the best one in the series, and my sister-in-law actually got me into the series. I read the first one. I wasn't a big fan of it, so maybe like the second or the third or whatever will make me love it even more, but I heard this one is the best, and this is the second one, so I really want to read this one to see if like this one will grab me more than the first one did. It's really thick, really big book. That's another reason why I'm not picking it up, because I'm like, oh my god, it's so long, and it took me forever to get through the first one. This is 624 pages. But I heard it was really good, and I really want to read this because I want to give this series a chance because people love it so much, and I'm like, why don't I love it? So maybe this book will change my mind. So this is, Zira has underdone more tales than one human woman can carry in her heart. Though she now's been granted the powers and lifespan of a high fae, she is haunted by her time under the mountain as the terrible deeds she's performed to save the lives of Tamlin and his people. As her marriage to Tamlin approaches, Feyre's hollowness and nightmares consume her. She finds herself split into two different people, the one who upholds her bargain with Rysand, High Lord of the feared Night Court, and one who lives out her life in the Spring Court with Tamlin. While Feyre navigates a dark web of politics, passion, and dazzled power, a greater evil looms. She might just be the key to stopping it. Fill her fractured soul and decide she wishes to shape her future and the future of a world in turmoil. I'm honestly not like a huge fan of fantasy either. Like I never thought I'd be like a big like fantasy person, which is why I also think I'm not gonna love it, but like I really want to love it, so I want to give it a chance. The next one is The Fine Print. So this is the first one to the Dreamland Billionaire series. This one was gifted to me. I heard this one was really good, and whenever I post like a picture on it saying like on my TBR, blah, 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 everyone's saying like, oh my god, this book is so good. So I definitely want to read it. So Rowan, I'm in the business of creating fairy tales, theme parks, production companies, 5-star hotels. Everything could be all mine if I renovated Dreamland. My initial idea of hiring Zara was good in theory, but then I kissed her. Things spiraled out of control once I texted her using an alias. By the time I realized where I went wrong, it was too late. People like me don't get happy endings, not when we're designed to ruin them. Zara. After submitting a drunk proposal criticizing Dreamland's most expensive ride, I should have been fired. Instead, Rowan Kane offered me a dream job. The catch? I had to work for the most difficult boss I'd ever met. Rowan was rude and completely off limits, but my heart didn't care, at least not until I discovered his secret. It was time to teach the billionaire that money couldn't fix everything, especially not us. That one sounds interesting. I just also read the Mile High Club series. I read The Stopover and The Takeover, and this one is kind of reminding me of it. It's like a media company. Boys are like really rich, and the girls are kind of like people that they never thought they would fall in love with, these like really rich, like snobby billionaire people, but this one sounds really good, especially because it reminds me of that, and I love the Mile High Club series. Hi guys, quick interruption. So I actually didn't realize that I only did 22 books yesterday, not 23. So I ended up doing that because one of the books that I have on my list, I actually don't have a physical copy to. So going on to the next one, we have Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This one has been on my list for like a couple weeks now because I feel like this is like the #1 on Bookstagram and Booktok and all that. I'm seeing it everywhere and everyone's saying that it's so good. So this says, for years I dreamt of what college life could bring, and while some things change, there is always one constant. It didn't matter how wild I allowed my imagination to run, it always led me to the same place in the end. It led me to him. My future was clear and he was it, until suddenly he wasn't, and I'm a shell of who I was, on a path too blurry to follow, and I see no way out, no way up. They say first loves last forever. That's exactly what I'm afraid of. So that one sounds really good. This is everywhere right now, and like when a book is like trending, I want to jump on it right away and start reading it, because I know that it's good if other people are recommending it. So this one is Forgetting You. This one I heard was crushing. This is also another Colleen Hoover book that I still need to read, and I want to get through all of her books as soon as possible. But this says, how do you pick up the pieces without the glue holding everything together? Morgan Grant and her 16-year-old daughter Clara would like nothing more than to be nothing alike. Morgan is determined to prevent her daughter from making the mistake she did. Clara doesn't want to follow in her mother's footsteps. Her predictable mother doesn't have a spontaneous bone in her body. With warring personalities and conflicting goals, Morgan and Clara find it increasingly difficult to coexist. The only person who can bring the peace to the household is Chris, Morgan's husband, Clara's father, and the family anchor. But that peace is shattered when Chris is involved in a tragic and questionable accident. The heartbreaking and long-lasting consequences will reach far beyond just Morgan and Clara. While struggling to rebuild everything that crashed around them, Morgan finds comfort in the last person she expects to, and Clara turns to the one boy she's been forbidden to see. With each passing day, new secrets, resentment, and misunderstanding make mother and daughter fall further apart. So far apart, it may be impossible for them to ever fall back together. It sounds good. It sounds more of like a mother-daughter kind of situation than like a romance situation, but I could be wrong. But this one is number 3. Number 2, You Will Be Mine. I am making another video on this book, but this one is another thriller. Never heard of this one either, but I went to Barnes & Noble, saw this one, got it. Seems actually really interesting. I am actually going to read this one next, because I want to do a video on it. But it says, love turns deadly. Roses are red, violets are blue. Watch your back, I'm coming for you. Lila and her friends can't wait to spend a night out together. Partying is the perfect way to let loose from the stress of life and school, and Lila hopes that hitting the dance floor with Chase, her best friend, will bring them closer. She's been crushing on him since they met. If only he thought of her the same way. The girls are touching up their makeup and the guys are sliding on their coats when the doorbell rings. No one is there. An envelope sits on the doormat. It is an anonymous note addressed to their friend Sunny. A secret admirer? Maybe. They all laugh it off, except Sunny never comes home. And a new note arrives. Your turn. So this one sounds really interesting. I heard it like there was a lot of twists and turns in it, because I looked it up after getting it to see what the ratings are on it, and a lot of people are saying this is a really good thriller book and that they really liked it. So this one I'm reading next after I finish the book that I'm reading right now. And my number 1 is Credence by Penelope Douglas. This one was actually just gifted to me yesterday for my birthday. I've been wanting to read another Penelope Douglas book because her books are super spicy, and I'm really into that now that I'm into like reading spicy stuff. But this is one of her, I think, most famous ones. I read like Birthday Girl, Punk 57. I wasn't a big fan of Punk 57. Birthday Girl I liked, but this one I've been wanting to read for a while now, ever since I heard about it. This one says, Tieran de Haas doesn't care about anything anymore. The only child of a film producer and his starlet wife. She's grown up with wealth and privilege, but not love or guidance. Shipped off to boarding schools from an early age, it was still impossible to escape the loneliness and carve out a life for her own. The shadow of her parents' fame followed her everywhere, and when they suddenly pass away, she knows she should be devastated. But has anything really changed? She's always been alone, hasn't she? Jake Vanderberg, her father's stepbrother, and her only living relative, assumes guardianship of Tieran, who is still 2 months shy of 18. Sent to live with him and 2 sons, Noah and Caleb, in the mountains in Colorado, Tieran soon learns that these men now have to say in what she chooses to care and not care about anymore. As the 3 of them take her under their wing, she slowly finds her place among them. One of them has her. The other one wants her. But he is going to keep her. Whoa, this one seems super intense. So it's pretty much 3 guys that like want her, and one of them is her father's stepbrother. That's weird. This one seems like it's going to be super intense. So this one is probably going to be my next read after this one, even though I'm like really want to read this one. So yeah, that is my 23 most anticipated reads for my 23rd birthday. I will either have this up on my birthday or I'll have it up on the weekend. So if you're seeing this on February 22nd, I posted on my birthday. or seeing it like on Sunday or something, which is February, like, I don't even know, 27th, 28th, I'm guessing. Then it's a little past my birthday, but I want to do something fun for the year I turn 23. So if you like any of these books or any of these books on your TBR, please let me know down below which ones are on your TBR or which ones you are now going to add to your TBR now that I've talked about them a little bit.